Information discussed in this podcast may be sensitive in nature to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Sky Burnley refused to let his 94-year-old grandmother be put in a nursing home. It was 2016, and Sky was 27 years old. A young man with a lot going on in his own life, but he loved his grandmother and didn't want to see her put in a home. Instead, he offered to take care of her himself. This was just the kind of man Sky was. Sky spent his days working in construction and his evenings with his girlfriend and his grandmother. Sky was such a thoughtful and caring young man, although he did make some questionable choices just a few years earlier. Sky's life hadn't gone as planned. When he was younger, he had dabbled with pills, specifically Xanax, a decision that landed him 2 years in jail. At age 20, Sky was released, but his dream of joining the military was dashed. He now had a felony on his record, and he had to come up with another plan. He fell into some odd jobs and often worked construction. In June 2016, Sky's exact movements have been a mystery to those who knew him. In the early morning hours of June 4th, 2016, authorities received a strange call. A man said that someone had stolen his truck and that he and his girlfriend, along with Sky, went looking for it. However, they split up in the woods where they believed it was left, and Sky vanished. The truck was found, but Sky was not. Searches of the area turned up no sign of the young man either. Law enforcement believed the story was fishy because the immediate area showed no signs of Sky at all. And the man who called about his truck, well, his story wasn't adding up either. Sky had completely disappeared. Where is Joseph Schuyler Burnley? Hello, and welcome to the Where Are They podcast. This story, the story of Joseph Schuyler Burnley, is a heartbreaking one. Authorities believe they know the outcome, but there isn't enough evidence to make any arrests, and there is still no Schuyler. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to Sky's story. Let's keep sharing his name, his case, and let's help bring Sky home. Joseph Schuyler Burnley was born on October 18th, 1988 to mother Stacy. He would be raised alongside his brother, who was just a year younger than him, and then a younger sister who would be born 9 years later. From birth, he always went by his middle name Schuyler, or more often, just Sky. As a child, Sky was described as a friendly kid, one who was friends with everyone. Sky excelled in school, and it came easy to him. He also grew up playing baseball and had a dream of becoming a high school teacher and coaching high school baseball someday. In high school, Sky talked about joining the military. He wanted to enlist right after graduation before coming home to pursue his education to be a teacher and then a coach. But life had other plans for Sky. At age 18, while leaving a fair, he was stopped by local police officers. They searched him and found 5 Xanax pills on him. Sky did not have a prescription for these pills, and in 2016, this was a felony possession charge. He was arrested and he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Those 2 years would change Sky's life forever. First, this completely derailed his plans to join the military. With a felony charge, he was told he was no longer eligible. Secondly, Sky found himself in some dangerous situations in prison, and at just 18 years old, he wasn't quite sure how to handle it. When he was approached by the notorious prison gang, the Simon City Royals, while incarcerated, He had to make a decision. Another inmate told Sky if he did not join the gang, he'd become a target and his life would be in danger. Because of this, Sky reluctantly became a member of the Simon City Royals. The Simon City Royals are one of Mississippi's largest and most problematic street and prison gang. After 2 years of being incarcerated, Sky was finally released at the age of 20. He would find some various jobs, mostly construction type of jobs, and he tried to get on with his life. But life with a felony wasn't easy. Jobs were hard to find, and his future dreams, which included being a baseball coach, were now completely dashed. In the years after his release, a couple of things happened. Sky took on the care for his grandmother so that she wouldn't have to go into a nursing home. He was very close with her, and he couldn't bear to see her go into a home, which the family had been discussing doing. With promises to look after her, she would continue to live in her home in Florence, Mississippi, with Sky as her caregiver. Because of this, he spent most evenings at home with her in Florence. In 2015, Sky and his girlfriend became born-again Christians and joined a church. Sky read the Bible every day and highlighted verses that were important to him. Now, at the same time, some who knew Sky would say that while he wasn't addicted to drugs, he did enjoy using them occasionally. Likely, this was due to some of the company that he kept. The level to which he would dabble would be debated from person to person. In late May of 2016, Sky was pulled over in Brandon, Mississippi. This incident is a bit shrouded in mystery, but his mother talks about it in an interview on the Unfound podcast, and I think it's odd enough that it's worth mentioning. Sky was pulled over, although we don't know the initial reason. An officer then told him that his license was suspended and he would be taken from Brandon, Mississippi to Pearl, Mississippi. Sky's girlfriend said he was allowed to call a friend to come and get his truck. It was not impounded, and that when she picked him up, she had to pay a $100 fine for Sky to be released. She said she paid it in cash. This was odd because Sky was under the impression that this license infraction had been cleared up and he had paid all necessary fees earlier. There would be cleared checks to actually demonstrate that. Another oddity was that after Sky disappeared, his mother and family would inquire about this traffic stop and this fee, only to be told there was no record of such stop, and there was no record of a fee being paid at all. It was as if it never happened. The disappearance. The events leading up to June 4th, 2016 for Sky are a bit of a mystery, and it's important to note that the following account was provided by Travis Brewer. Travis Brewer was a friend of Sky's who often helped him work on his vehicles. On the night of June 3rd, 2016, Sky was with Travis at his home on Cedar Brook Drive in Pearl, Mississippi. Travis lived with his girlfriend Amanda and their 4-year-old daughter. There would be another friend at the home that night, or at least another acquaintance of Travis, a young man by the name of Matthew McCoy. Travis said Matthew took his truck without permission that night and wouldn't return it. With the help of his cell phone carrier, he was able to track the GPS on his cell phone, which Travis said that he had left on the seat of his truck. Late that night, Travis, Amanda, their daughter, and Sky all got into Amanda's vehicle and went off in search of Travis's truck. They tracked it to a wooded patch in Rankin County, not far from Travis and Amanda's home, actually. Travis and Sky got out of the vehicle and went off in search of Travis's missing truck, splitting up to cover more ground. Travis said they had a general idea of where the truck was, but they didn't know exactly. After a while, Travis returned to the vehicle where Amanda and his daughter were. Amanda said their daughter was getting tired and she needed to take her home and put her to bed. Travis looked briefly for Sky, then decided to drive Amanda and his daughter back home and then go back to look for Sky. When Travis got back to this wooded area, he said he looked all over for Sky, but found no signs of him. He did find his truck abandoned, and he was able to get that back home later, although it isn't clear exactly how he was able to do this. I presume maybe with Amanda's help. But eventually, he and Amanda realized that Sky was missing. They couldn't find Sky anywhere. He had walked off into the woods in search of this truck and disappeared. The next day, as the sun came up, Travis made the call to 911 to report that his truck had been stolen and his friend Sky was now missing. There will be some discrepancies on this report, as we will soon learn. Authorities did respond to the scene and headed to the wooded area where Sky was allegedly last known to be. But Joseph Skylar Burnley had disappeared. The search and investigation. Law enforcement did go to that patch of woods to search for Sky. They searched on foot. They used specially trained canines, and they even put helicopters up in the air. This area of the woods isn't that large, and it's surrounded on all sides by other roads. Detectives were quick to note that some of the details Travis had told them didn't really make much sense. For one, they weren't able to understand how Travis tracked his truck down. They couldn't verify his story of using his cell phone carrier's GPS to find its location, and it just seemed so odd. The story turned up even more concern when Travis's cell phone was found in the front yard of a home down the street from where he lived, as if someone had been driving by and tossed it out of the window. They believed the phone had been there for quite some time. If the phone was in the front yard of this home, and Travis claimed to have not been the one to throw it in this front yard, how was he able to track his phone to the woods? Authorities quickly questioned Travis's story altogether. Also, interestingly, law enforcement was able to track down this Matthew McCoy, and he was arrested, but he was quickly released without much more being said about his involvement in anything. Sky's mother desperately tried to find her son also. She called everyone she could think of, and she instinctively knew something was wrong. Mostly, she knew that he would never leave his grandmother without telling him where he was going. She spoke to Sky's girlfriend, and she told her about the incident being pulled over a couple of weeks earlier. It was odd how it happened, and his mother wanted the details. When she reached out to a detective about that incident, she learned there was no record of it at all. There was no record of Sky being pulled over. There was no record of him being taken into the police station. And there was no record of that $100 cash that his girlfriend had paid. The money that an officer had told her was necessary to clear up his fine for driving under a suspended license. Was it a simple case of misplaced records, or officers who just didn't log their reports, or possibly another reason that there was no record of this incident? Surveillance camera footage would also be found from the day that it was believed Sky disappeared, and it showed Sky along with Travis, Amanda, and their daughter at a gas station just down the road from Travis and Amanda's home. It showed nothing of significance really, and Sky seemed to be acting normal. It does verify that Sky had been with Travis and Amanda, at least at some point that day. And it was also that video that led detectives to issue a description of Sky, which included what he was wearing: a baseball hat, a short-sleeved yellow button-down shirt, and blue shorts. With the information they had, law enforcement obtained search warrants for Travis and Amanda's home. During that search, they found drug paraphernalia and they were arrested. They were said to be less than forthcoming with detectives, especially when questioned about Sky. Authorities thoroughly searched that entire patch of woods several times, but never found any trace of Sky. Finally, after expanding the search to cover over 400 nearby acres, they called off the search and announced that they were 100% sure that Sky was not there. So where was he? Rumors swirled in these Mississippi small towns, and many of them were not good for Sky. Rankin County, Mississippi. Sky's story takes us to Rankin County, Mississippi. Rankin County is located just east of Jackson, Mississippi, the state's capital city. It's comprised of all of the towns which Sky frequented in the days leading to his disappearance. Sky lived in Florence, Mississippi with his grandmother. His friend Tyler lived in Pearl, Mississippi, and he had been pulled over in that driving under suspended license incident in Brandon, Mississippi. All are located within the boundaries of Rankin County, Mississippi. The entire county has a population of just over 150,000 residents. With all that being noted, based on the surveillance footage at the gas station and Travis's story, we can place Sky last in Pearl, Mississippi. Pearl, Mississippi is just north of Florence and just a few minutes' drive to Jackson. Travis had told authorities that he and Sky had gone off in search of his truck, which he believed had been stolen, and that they were in a patch of woods off of Bridges Road, near Rankin Road. This is a more rural area outside of the city, but also a corner of land that is surrounded by roads on all sides. Although, according to Google Maps, Bridges Road looks to be a dirt road and pretty desolate. But again, authorities not only searched that patch of woods, they also fanned out over 400 acres in the event that maybe Sky had wandered off and become injured. But they found nothing. Now, the area of Jackson, Mississippi has the highest crime rate in the state. Sky was also rumored to be still affiliated with the Simon City Royals prison gang, although his family believes that he left that life completely behind him when he left prison. Did the gang come after him for trying to leave? Or did a rival gang become involved? Or could this even be drug-related? The main theory in this case, however, points to one main person of interest: Travis Brewer. Law enforcement has said they believe that Travis and likely Amanda know more than they are saying, and they have remained persons of interest in Sky's case. 2 years after Sky disappeared, his mother received a call from a woman who claimed to have Skylar's son. His mother was unaware he had had a child and wasn't sure what to believe or what to make of this call. DNA tests were conducted, however, and it was confirmed the 4-year-old boy, who was just 2 when Sky disappeared, was indeed Sky's son. It's unclear what Sky knew of the child or how involved he may or may not have been. What we do know is that a young child does not have his father. A mother does not have her son. A brother and a sister are missing their oldest sibling. A grandmother had to live out her days without her caretaker, her best friend, and her grandson. Sky's disappearance has affected so many people, and it will continue to do so. What do you think happened to Sky Burnley? Sky is described as a Caucasian male standing 5'9" tall and weighing around 160 pounds when he was last seen in June of 2016. He was 27 years old then, and he would today be 36. He was last seen wearing a short-sleeved yellow button-down shirt, blue shorts, and a baseball cap. Sky has short brown hair and hazel eyes. He also has several tattoos on his arms and chest. Anyone with any information on the whereabouts of Sky Burnley is asked to contact the Rankin County Sheriff's Office at 601-825-1480. Thank you so much for listening to Sky's story today, a heartbreaking story that has changed the lives of many, many people. And yes, Sky seemed to have his struggles, but he was a good, kind young man. If something nefarious happened to Sky, he certainly didn't deserve it. Let's keep talking about Sky Burnley. Keep the pressure on, and let's get this young man home. If you've made it this far and appreciate our mission to share as many stories as we can, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast player. This helps so much, and we just want the names of these missing persons to reach as many people as possible, one way or another. Please give us a follow on the socials. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel does offer us the ability to share photographs and maps of the stories we cover. You can just search for the Where Are They podcast or check the show notes for our links. We are always interested in any feedback that you may have or any case suggestions. You can always send them over via the socials or email me anytime at canwefindthem@gmail.com. If you are interested in supporting us further, we welcome you to join us over on Patreon. Over there, you can find ad-free episodes. I hate the ads also, as well as all of our bonus episodes. If you have supported us over there throughout the year, thank you so much. The link to our Patreon can be found in the show notes. Again, thank you for tuning in today and listening to Sky's story, the story of Joseph Skylar Burnley, more affectionately known as Sky to his friends and family. I truly do hope that 2025 brings the family the answers that they need and that they deserve and that they have waited far too long for. Thank you again for listening to Sky's story and helping us spread awareness of his case. We will be back again very soon with another unsolved missing persons story. And until then, stay safe and hug your loved ones.